And we're live. Doing another live this morning. Going to give a minute for everybody to join in. I am going to try to do these regularly. Can't promise every day, because you guys know me. But regularly, with different topics, And if you guys have any ideas or suggestions for topics, you can leave them in the comments, because that's the best place to leave any type of questions. And we do look at the questions, so even if I don't get to it on this live, it'll give me an idea of something to do. Hey, look, my son just joined, which is Julie. Hey, everybody. I'm going to try to wave at y'all. So, questions or ideas for future topics. Here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to do 15 minutes. You guys know me. Sometimes it's going to go closer to 30. I'm going to try to do 15 minutes on a topic and go from there. So today I get to choose a topic because I haven't got any suggestions yet, because I'm just setting this out. So a fun one, an easy one, lighten the mood, because we've been talking about, whenever I do these things, I'm always talking about, very philosophical stuff. But today I just want to do a little one on how to become a professional dog trainer, because I think that's a very interesting thing. When I first of all, I didn't even know that existed in the way that we do it, when I first got into this. So I thought it would be cool to talk about the skills that, if you wanted to do this professionally, how long I think it looks like it takes people from the minute they decide, I want to do this professionally, to the time that they're actually doing it professionally. And then what in that time frame you should be working on to get there, okay? And this is balanced dog training. There's so much different types of dog training out there. You got sports dog training. You got the purely positive stuff. You got the, what else you got? You got protection work. I mean, you got service work. We're talking about companion dogs, okay? Balanced dog training. So yes, we use punishment and the good stuff and rewards. Here we go. This is it's going to be similar to my journey. I'm sure there's other dog trainers on here that can chime in on their journey. But what I'm noticing for myself, for Julie, and for a lot of our friends and colleagues, it took about 1 year. One day we said, I want to become a professional dog trainer. And then a year later, usually we all are. So you're looking about a year of learning. And what do you learn in that year? What do you do in that year? I can tell you what I focused on. And in that year of what you focus on, you can see when you meet other dog trainers, when you finally go to a seminar, you can see their backgrounds and where they came from and what they put their focus on. But what I recommend to put your focus on is this, okay? So your first year, you're like, I want to do this. I want to be a balanced dog trainer. What do you need to study? What do you need to be practicing on? First of all, you need to be getting dogs. You need to have dogs to practice on. So if you have dogs, great. You're going to want to be working with your dogs. You're going to want to be working with your family's dogs. I mean, I reached out to people that I never even talked to that were family members, just to see if I could work with their dogs. Friends' dogs, all this stuff. This is all free. This is the first year. You can go out to the shelter. That might be difficult to do, but I did that. And what I worked on is learning dog behavior. You need to study that dog behavior, okay? Make that a regular thing. Before you even go and touch dogs, you need to sink your teeth into learning true dog behavior, how to read a dog, all this stuff. It takes time. On top of that, the biggest thing that I think a new dog trainer can learn is how to walk a dog. And I know that's it. If you're learning dog behavior, which means you're learning how they operate, you're learning how to read them, and on the side, you're teaching dogs how to walk in essentially a heel, but the way that I do it is we create a follower. That process, that ritual of grabbing a dog you don't know, putting them on a leash, like a slip lead or a prong collar, and in one session, because this is what pros are able to do. And it's important to know what a pro is able to do. A pro is able to grab a dog, and even bad pullers and bad reactive dogs, and get them in walking pretty much in a heel in one session. All right, there are exceptions, but that's the standard. If it's taking you 10 sessions, you're not there yet, right? And it's okay if it takes you 10 sessions, but the thing is, you want to get it. There's a ritual. You want to be able to get that done in a session. You put the dog on a prong or a slip, whatever you're using. You don't know the dog. How do you get that dog within 15 minutes? Because that's what the pros do. Walking by your side and paying attention to you. This process is invaluable. You're going to see different dogs react differently. You're going to see dogs bite at the leash. You might see dogs come at you. You're going to see dogs do everything. You're going to see dogs try not to move, and you got to problem solve. And so as many dogs as you can get your hands on just teaching to walk in that first year is going to set you up for some big time success. Because once you get really good at that and confident in that, it's like, give me any dog you got. Give me any size, any breed, it doesn't matter. I'm going to teach this thing to walk respectfully. That's huge. I mean, you can't be pro at the capacity that I'm talking about without being able to teach a dog to walk within a session, really. You know, and I know, you know, I'm just saying that's what gets it started. One session doesn't mean you can't build on that, but that dog at the end of that session should be walking with you. All right. That's your goal. That's your goal. When you get back home, you're studying that dog behavior again. A good resource is old Cesar Millan stuff. You got no surprise that I said that, because I'm always saying that, but I believe that that's a great place to start. To go back to the old stuff. I'm talking season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you get closer to like season 9, it gets a little, you know, the earlier stuff, they showed everything. You're going to see everything, and you're going to hear bits and pieces because it's not laid out. I mean, I had to take a lot of time watching his stuff. You'll get a little bit of information here and there. Okay. And on top of that, you're going and getting your hands on dogs and you're teaching them how to walk. Now, one other thing I'd be doing in this first year, on top of that, I'm going to also start doing private lessons. This is common. This is before the board and train. You don't have the skills to do a board and train yet. You're right. You're going out there this first year to get your skills. In homes where you go to people's houses and you're doing it either for free or for cheap because it's more for you to get experience, right? You need to learn how to stop unwanted behaviors. Okay, so you're going to learn dog behavior. You're going to learn how to read a dog. You're going to learn how to tame the beast on the walk by walking lots of dogs and doing that ritual of getting a dog to become a follower. And you're going to learn how to stop common unwanted behaviors. Jumping, obviously pulling on the leash, barking, you know, all this stuff. What you're not doing so far, and guys, this is only one path. This is only one path that worked for me. Okay, what I didn't learn yet at this point is I didn't learn how to train a dog. I didn't learn how to teach them place and teach them sit and teach them down. At this point, I didn't know how to do any of that. I just knew how to get it. I knew dog behavior. I knew how to get a dog to walk and follow me on the leash. And then I was going into people's homes and saying, okay, where are you having a problem? And let me show you how to stop it. Okay, this is the whole first year. You can make a whole living off that. Do you know how many people just want to be able to walk their dog, or just want the annoyance of their dog barking out the window to stop, or whatever the dog's doing, digging holes in the backyard, jumping on the kids, eating things off the counter? Knowing how to stop this stuff is invaluable. Okay? If you reach to that point where you are competent at going into somebody's house, taking care of and by the way, when you're in their houses, yeah, you're taking care of the dog's naughty behaviors, but you're also learning how to talk to people. You're also learning how to train people. You're also able to regurgitate some of the things you learned till they actually sink into your head, and they become, you know them so well, you can start using your own words, and you start understanding more and more and more what you're saying. It's practice. You're getting in there, you're getting out there, and you're doing it, you know? I mean, I wouldn't put anything on camera or anything. This isn't like you're not starting your business yet, right? You're just getting out there and becoming a pro, because there's no school that I know of that's going to give you these skills. And so let's fast forward and say you've got your dog knowledge on now. You can read a pack of dogs. You're getting better at reading dogs. You're getting better at getting them to follow you on the walk. You're getting better at stopping unwanted behaviors and problem solving. You're thinking for yourself. You're talking to people. You're talking to you're in the living room of a family dealing with a dog. I mean, this is a skill set that you need to learn. Okay, this is pre-board and train stuff, although you can just jump in the board and train. Again, this is kind of similar to my path. And so after that, you do that for a while. You start charging the proper amount of money. Next thing you know, you're like, this looks like this is headed towards a career. What do I need to know to just open up a board and train? Because to me, that's the best way to train a dog. You're going to need to learn how to teach commands now. You're going to need to understand how to teach the 5 basic commands. And they have to be, you have to be able to do it consistently with dogs who are easy, with dogs who are difficult, with dogs who are big, with dogs who are small, with dogs who try to bite, with dogs who don't try to bite, with dogs, you know what I mean? So you got sit, you got down, you got place, you got the recall, and you got heel, which you've already probably mastered at this point because you've spent that time learning how to get a dog to walk. Okay, and you're gonna have to do some board and trains for cheap or free, and that's your practice ground. That's your practice ground. Even if you're not live yet to the public, like you're not on camera, you don't have your website or anything rolling yet. You should at this point probably be building that. But you don't have to document your first handfuls of board and trains until you're confident. But the idea is that you will help this dog because somebody putting effort into a dog is going to help him, even if you're new. The price is so low, it doesn't matter if it's fantastic or not. This is helping you grow. And you need to learn how to start teaching these commands. And you need to learn, and what you're going to learn is once you get the dog trained up, then you got to learn to teach the humans. And this practice here, boom, 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 get a handful of those, you're probably going to get some confidence. You're probably going to say, I think I can do this. Now, and then it's time to launch it, baby. And then it's time to go. And it's time to get that website up. It's time to get on Facebook, social media, start to document our process, start to get comfortable being on camera, which is another skill. All this takes about a year. Roughly about a year from everybody I talk to, from shadow students, colleagues, Julie and I. It takes about a year. But then you open up, you start doing your board and train, you start documenting it. So you document the process. Videos are a big deal. Daily content is a big deal. So even if you do befores and afters, you don't have to show your process if you're new. If you're new and your process is still kind of like being worked out, that's okay. You can show, hey, this is what this dog looked like before, and this is what it looks like now, right? After a session. You can literally one session, you can show the beginning of the session, skip all the middle stuff because you're new, and show the end of the session. That's totally fine. In fact, I would get in the habit of starting to get used to being on camera before you open up, like when you're doing when you're doing your walks and stuff. When you're doing that walk stuff I talked about, film yourself or have somebody film you, right? Get used to being on camera. Because it's a big part. Look at me right now. I mean, look at us. Part of our job is being able to talk to people in person and on camera. And, I remember going to seminars and stuff and people really, really struggling with that. Okay, so that's got to be a hurdle to get over in this day and age. So you got that year and you're working on all this stuff, right? You're following other trainers. You're starting to find the guys and gals that you like. You're starting to just, you get bit by the bug. Ask anybody on here that's now doing it. You get bit by that bug and you can't stop thinking about it. It's all you think about because there's just so many problems to solve. Within a year's time, I have no doubt that you'll have the skills to open up a board and train and start that. Now that's year 1, baby. That's your learning curve to be able to start year 1 of your business. That was similar to my journey. Other people take different journeys and they come. So that would be like what we would call like a dog whispering background, where I heavily focused on dog behavior. I didn't focus on the whole first year. I didn't even know what an e-collar was. I mean, you do, but I didn't. And it's just 100% dog behavior, getting a dog to follow, all this stuff. That was my background. Now, I know people who took completely different backgrounds and they go towards more towards like the science stuff, right? Which I recommend learning too, but I recommend learning that second. All right? Because you get these people who learn the science first and then they want to go and learn dog behavior and they're all like, but it's not morally right to punish a dog. But it's like, if you don't learn the science first and you learn dog behavior first, you realize, no, that's just dogs. That's nature. And you get locked into that mentality of this is nature, and you get an idea of what they actually are as creatures before you go and study what other humans decide they are. Because that gets subjective real quick. So you study the dogs. You try your best to study dogs and dog behavior and the process of getting them to follow a human and listen to a human. All right, this is what I would study first. And then once you get a good grasp of that, then start diving into the science, because I do think you're going to need to have an understanding of not of what we know so far, and how people, and the terminology and all that stuff. I put in the time and I learned that stuff. You don't have to, but that would be secondary to me. Okay, that's year one. That's how you start your dog training business. That's how I started mine. And the thing is, if you're willing to document it, you're gonna get more. Listen, everybody gets more work than they're expecting. I'm rarely, the only people that I'm seeing having trouble getting work are the people who are having trouble getting on camera. That's it, because there's so many dogs. Like, if you opened up a training program right next to ours, you'd be busy too, because we can't take on all these dogs. We're booked out till September right now. We turn down dogs all the time. There's so many. So yeah, that's it. That's my path. And then you can take the science path first and then try to learn the dog behavior. Again, I don't recommend it, but it's been done. There's been people who go and they learn. Let me hit on something real quick in case you're new to this. So basically, in the dog training world, there's really, in the pet service world or companions, there's really two ways you can go these days. There's really three ways you could go these days, but one of them's not really being done. One of them is, let's start on the spectrum. If you think of a spectrum, right? You got, on one side, you got old school training, which most people would just call like aversive training, which is, it's basically compulsion training. It's like you ask the dog to do something, it doesn't do it, it gets a correction. And then you ask them to do it again. If it doesn't do it, it gets a correction. But the thing is, the dog might not even know the command. This is just, it's like you're saying sit and you're correcting, and then you're saying sit and you're correcting until the dog figures out to sit, kind of thing. Right? And then on the other end, you got what's referred to commonly as purely positive, which is where you subscribe to an idea that punishment is morally wrong. That's where that is. So these people think that punishment is morally wrong. So therefore, when they go to use dog training methods, they're not allowed to use punishment. That's why they're limited, because punishment, if you read the science, punishment is how you stop unwanted behaviors, and rewarding is how you increase desired behaviors. So they have to try to do all this work without being able to punish, which is like, that's why they can't work with. That's why if you watch a purely positive dog trainer, they're working with like labs, doodles, goldens, the softer breeds. They're not working with like an aggressive Rottweiler. You're not going to see that because they can't punish, right? You're going to have to be able to punish if you're working with that, right? So, and then right in the middle, bang, you got balanced dog training, where we're like, how about we mimic nature and do both, right? And so you can tell I'm biased because, it's what works best, in my opinion. And I don't even think it's in my opinion. I think if you look at who's doing, what companies are most successful, you're going to see it's balanced dog training, right? So let me see if I'm forgetting anything on how to become a freaking dog trainer. Oh, yes, huge character. You got to look at yourself before you get into this thing. And there is something that I noticed that makes, when I look at these people who I just admire as dog trainer professionals, and when I see them, they usually have a high level of emotional intelligence. They seem to be able to read and feel a room, not only of dogs but also people. They have kind of like that, almost like empathic thing going on, where they just they're blessed in being able to read really well. And listen, some people don't have it as much. I fortunately have a very strong emotional intelligence. I did not know that's what it was called when I was younger, and I did not know that not everybody had it as strong. If you have that, things will be easier for you than a trainer who loves to train, but they don't really have a natural, strong emotional intelligence. They're not really good at reading people's face expressions and body language. They're not really good at reading dogs naturally. They have to really study and read and like, what does it mean when the ears go up? What does it mean when the tail's this way? They really have to like learn it through like books and things like this, and through experience. People who have a strong emotional intelligence, they got an edge. And I think, it's appealing to people like myself, because when you're with these dogs, once you allow yourself, you can read them, and you do just get better and better and better. Not that you can't do it if you don't have a strong emotional intelligence. You absolutely can. I meet people who I don't think have a strong emotional intelligence, and they do become decent trainers. I don't think they'll ever be great, though. You guys know me. I'm honest. I don't think they'll ever be great. In fact, they're not great yet, and they've been doing it for quite a while. So it's just how it goes. It's like, hey, it's like basketball, man. Some people are just going to have the body type that's going to make them better. It's just how it goes. It's no different. So it's like, hey, I can't dunk, and I never will be able to, because that's not what I was given, right? So, and I'm not a genius. I can't be an engineer. I'm telling you, I cannot be an engineer. I can't. I'm dyslexic. It's just, that's not how I was built. But you know how I was built? I can read animals like crazy, right? So that's good. If you feel like you got that, maybe you should take a dive into this. Even if you don't have it, you can still you can still have a fully successful career and help a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? But this is real. It's like, if I wanted to get into basketball right now, being a short little guy that's not very athletic, I could, maybe I'd be all right eventually, but man, it's going to come a lot more difficult for me. All right? So that's a real thing too, your personality. And also, are you a disciplined individual? Because once you start your own business, ain't nobody reminding you it's time to get up, it's time to feed the dogs, it's time to do this, it's time to do that, and it's difficult. So you got to kind of have that extra layer of grit, that toughness, that mental toughness, and determination to keep going, right? These are the things you're going to want to look at your character. Like if you're honest with yourself and you're like, I'm a kind of a lazy person, I would watch out this career, because this is not for the lazy people. These dogs will work you till you're about dead, and then they keep working you. And some days we don't know how we make it through it, but you have to be that type of person who just wants you want to go all the time. You have trouble settling down. It's like, if there's 24 hours in a day, I'm sleeping 8 of them. I need to be going the other, however many, that is 16, constantly. I can't stop, can't hold still, can't do nothing. I'm not the only one like that. A lot of the people who I admire are like that. Julie's like that. She can't take a break. It's painful to take a break. Now, if you can relate to these things and you're not doing dog training, maybe you should, because we need more. We need more good dog trainers, out there. And there's plenty of room. So, hey man, 1 year of dedication and you can get this thing running. It's exciting. You get into the community, helping people. It's rewarding. It's difficult. It's challenging. It's good stuff. Oh, let's talk about pay, because we got to. How much can you make as a professional dog trainer? You see, when I first started, I was told that you're not going to make much money, which I was okay with, because I was an aspiring artist before that, and they tell you can't make much money. I heard you're not going to make much money. Okay, that's fine. As long as I can make enough to get by, that's fine. That's not true. Not right now. Oh man, you're going to make as much money as you want to make, especially if you have a business education or your business, you have a mind that's good with business. You can make a decent amount of money. But here, let me break it down in a way that you can probably pick up. Let's say you do your first year. From right now, you're like, I want to be a dog trainer. A year from now, you open up your business. You're going to want to be competitive. You're not going to want to go at the price that everyone else is going at. Maybe you don't have the skills, the confidence yet. You're going to want to be competitive. But this is what a normal board and train is going from coast to coast. An average board and train that is 3 to 4 weeks long. This is one dog. You can get anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000, maybe even more if you're freaking awesome, for a dog for 3 weeks to 4 weeks. Okay, so you think 1,000 a week. That's pretty much what's going on. There's definitely programs that are more expensive. Ours is a little bit more expensive, but there's more expensive than ours. There's cheaper than ours, but generally 1,000 a week. And most people are keeping dogs for 3 weeks who don't have big issues, right? It's like, so you can think probably roughly around $3,000 for 3 weeks for one dog. And most people who start out are working 2 to 3 dogs at a time. Okay, so 3 weeks, 3 dogs. That's $9,000 every 3 weeks. Of course, Uncle Sam takes his cut, but you can see it's not bad money. It's not bad money, but don't get into it for the money, because if you get into it for the money, which I meet people, you guys know my frustration. I meet a lot of people, and I see people get into it for money, and they don't last. A couple years, they're gone, because it's so much work, dude. It's not as easy as it looks. You get into it because you love it. The money will come. but the reputation is what matters. It's always the reputation. If your reputation's good, money will come. So you don't really focus on the money. You focus on your reputation and being the best version you can, and you will make a good career. So, in case you want to do this, you feel like you're a good fit, but you're unsure of like, do I leave my good paying job and all that? You'll do just fine if your head's in the right place. Okay. And that's only one revenue, right? You do board and you do daycare, you do content on YouTube, you're getting money from all these other places. You start a show on YouTube a couple years in, it gets popular, you get yourself, a nice following. YouTube's going to cut you a check every month, and that just keeps growing. Okay, so it's pretty cool stuff, man. And you ain't got nobody breathing over your shoulder. You're your own boss. All right. Okay, it's an awesome career, but it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and some days it nearly kills me. So that's honest. All right, guys, give us some ideas of what you guys want to hear about, whether it's a private message or it's in the comments after this video is posted, and we're going to try to do some more of these things. Give me some direction on what I should be talking about in the mornings while I have my coffee. If there's any questions or concerns, now would be the time. I'm going to see who's on here. Look, thank you so much for joining. All my friends. Awesome. All these are going to be over on YouTube. Julie's pretty much taking all of these little talks from Facebook and from Instagram, and she's going to be putting them on YouTube, Julie's Canine Academy, and it's going to be in a playlist. So eventually, hey ACC dogs, do I know you personally? Because if I don't know your handle, but I know you, let me know. And so eventually these will be deleted. I think we're going to get into the process of every week kind of deleting them off Instagram as the new ones come up, so it doesn't cloud, that's all you see is my face on our Instagram page. They're over on YouTube. All of my talks will be over there in a playlist. So that's cool. So that's very good. Angela, what's up? I haven't heard from you in a while. How's Texas right now? Probably warmer than here in West Virginia. Of course, guys, anything. This is a great career to get into, especially if you love dogs, because you are. And I'll tell you, though, it can change some things about how you feel about dogs, because if you have any romanticized ideas of what a dog is, like I did when I came in, I'm not going to lie, I had a romantic idea, I think we all do, of what dogs are, and I got a rude awakening of what dogs really are, and it was a tough pill to swallow, and it didn't happen into my first year. I was still in that kind of romanticized idea of what they were, even though I started to see some shit. It took a few years, and I was like, okay. And talking to other professionals who I trust and really seeing these dogs for what a dog is, eventually, now I understand them. It will do that, and it can be uncomfortable, especially if you have this romantic idea of what they are, like I did. And yeah, they're out to please themselves. This is true. But I love them, and I love them still just as much as I ever have, maybe even more. Dogs have done everything for us. They've built they've taught me a lot. Okay, but they don't look the same. They aren't. You really get to see what really is going on, what they really are as an animal, and you have to be open to take that in. Okay, don't be one of these people that have blinders on, you just projecting on a dog, because you're only going to be able to help the easy dogs if you do that. And guess what? There's not a whole lot of easy dogs out there. We find people are struggling, and that's one topic I'm going to get into on the next one. And I got some good stuff to talk about if you guys don't have any suggestions. But I'd love the suggestions anyway in the comments or DM. Oh, grooming for K-Gram. She says it's given her the same perspective. Yeah, it's true. And you can always tell when you meet somebody who understands dogs for what they are. You can always tell, and you kind of get that wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, right? Oh, New Jersey, what's up? I'm so glad that this has been helping. We love getting on here. Like I said, it's a lonely occupation. It feels like we're actually having a conversation with somebody or a group of people when we do these lives. It's really nice. Gonna try to do them more. I planned on it last time I started, I think it was a year ago, but it's time to get on here and do it more. I really appreciate the community. You guys are great, Had a rough winter, and I'm sure some people can relate. Sometimes you just got a rough patch in life, but now we're back on the wagon and we're going to move forward. Okay? So I'm going to end this. I'll try to end this by telling you guys what I do for the day. So we get started at 9, same as last year when I did this. India! Now that is awesome. I love when I see people from other countries. Hello. We're over here in West Virginia. So today we only got 2 dogs. Our third dog's coming in tomorrow. And we got Little Buddy, and Little Buddy's ready to go off property. Little Buddy is ready to go off property. So we're going to go for a walk downtown. We're going to go to the park. We're going to try to find dogs. Because him, just like every dog that comes in here, I swear to God, every dog, is dog reactive. I mean, they react to these, and they're not even just dog reactive. He's just reactive in general. He'll bark at people and bikes, and this is like every dog. So remember, if this is your first year and you're thinking about getting into this, by learning how to walk a dog, you're gonna run into all of that stuff, that juicy good stuff, and you get good at walking dogs and stopping that stuff, you are gonna be a pro in no time at all. So I'm telling you where to put your energy is teaching dogs that walk like shit how to walk, and how to walk by distractions and stuff. And that's not always done in the first session, but dry, meaning no big distractions, teaching the dog to follow you and walk, that can be done in a session. That's very common for a pro to be able to do. But he's kind of right in the middle. And that's just, you can build on that. You can really build on that. And you can build him up and you can build his confidence up. But he's not going to be so confident that he's instantly trying to dominate other dogs and dominate the house and all that. It's so nice when you see one come in. He's 5 months old. So he's like young, doesn't have anything deep. And I get to play.